My name is Lieutenant Gary Aswalt, and welcome to a tour of the newest content to be forgotten about by next week because it came out at the same time as a Teletubby skin or something. Grime and Checkpoint. Let's start things off with Grime, a medium-sized 6v6 map taking place in a rainy and destroyed London. Like, really destroyed. It's like an English Skid Row, with a few less shipping containers. And it's just covered in graffiti and other sinful filth. And if only we had some soap lying around anywhere. Now, like a frog in therapy, we're gonna start dissecting this thing from the inside out. Starting with the center, which acts as a main hub connecting the rest of the map together, forming an almost hourglass-type structure. This is a reference to the weird time dilation you may feel when killed across the map by a pair of dual shotguns, like we didn't already learn our lesson about them 14 years ago. This web of lies is governed by two power positions placed on opposite sides, just barely elevated from the rest of the map. One is located in one of those things you stick your head into at carnivals to look like a giraffe or some shit, and the other is just an open parking space. Just like out in the open. And let this be the first lesson you learn about Grime. While it obviously takes place in a city and features a good number of interiors, there's really only two buildings that actually matter. Just between spawns on the north side is the first, an office building's lobby that, just like my face underneath this mask, is almost symmetrical. It's the perfect arena where both teams funnel in to fight over the last jelly-filled donut in the break room, or whoever gets to have the corner office now that Janet was downsized. Moving our way to the other side of the map, you have the dock, and it's a straight shot from end to end, which has had many people prior to release comparing it to the old World War II map, London Docks. You know, what with the docks and it taking place in London. But what, you're just telling me that all English docks will look the same? Okay. And just next to the docks, we have a little canal of water, which, and be warned, this might shock you, can be used as a flanking route. But unlike the first dozen times they tried it, the uneven path above and the murkiness of the water below actually does make it pretty useful if you can get over the smell. Everyone else is smelling that, right? I'm not having it straight. Now let's talk about the spawns. The west side is pretty standard, sporting a classic ABC decision off the game's start. You can either go A, off toward the offices and immediately get into a gunfight, B, down the center and have a brief panic attack thinking that this pink skateboard is an enemy since it's the most common player color palette now, or C, you can enter the spawn building to the right, which is less of a building in the traditional sense where it's a destination, and more in the modern sense, where it's just a good spot to put some respawn points that the game will never use. By contrast, the other spawn on the east side is way simpler. You can either go to the right and straight into that office, or left into the boathouse, which, man, I can't even make proper sense of. There's at least one of every objective in here, and there's so many people coming and going in every direction, I'm actually starting to miss the pandemic, when every store had those one-way arrows that everyone pretended to follow for like a week. Oh, and I guess technically there is a third option back out of spawn down the middle, but honestly, I always forget it's there. Kind of like how your brain just erases your nose from your field of vision because it's so prominent, dumb, and crooked. You know, just like my mask does. Now let's hop on over to Checkpoint. Born from the teat of the most reborn Warzone map, Rebirth Island. I clearly don't know how birthing works. Just like Grime, something about the art direction of this map just screams MW 2019 to me. But they both play pretty well. I mean, I'm just happy to be getting some real maps that are bigger than the size of a mouse's hangnail. Okay, so now that my quota of dunking on shipment for the video is done, let's take a look at that layout. Much like Grime, Checkpoint also has two important buildings, but thankfully, they're on both flanks, giving the lanes a certain I-beam type shape, which results in spawns deeper than a pizza buried in Chicago, and what I call the action area is about as narrow and all over the place as a bulimic with ADHD. Personally, I would recommend just picking a building and patrolling it like you're an NPC in a poorly coded stealth game. But because you're just like my ex and you're too high class to go camping, you'll probably instead spend a lot of your time respawning on one end, running in, and being killed by the other team's NPCs, who thankfully found partners that are a little bit more their speed. So chances are that you'll become very familiar with this here roundabout and spawn. Hey, wait, is that from Raid? Guys, I think this is a Raid remake! There's a few more buildings just off that road, but I promise you, you will almost never actually enter them. Like, this is what the game just calls hangar, despite it looking to me just like every garage I've ever had, with just enough boxes inside that I can't fit my car in. Then there's this other unlabeled building further into spawn that I think is like a college dorm room. It even has the patented 1 part BO, 3 part cheap weed smell. Or if you're on the other team, the thing you'll spend all your time staring at is the other spawn by the cliffside, where there's a bunker that, fun fact, is just like the one from that 2019 map, with a cool Easter egg that actually instantly ends the game that you're in. All that you have to do is go up to it and type in the code 69696969696, and that's actually where I'll end today's tour. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to check out the last one we did on all the original Season 3 maps. And everyone else can exit through the gift shop, where we're selling air fresheners to hopefully get this damn must out of here. Oh no, the air fresheners went bad. Oh no, oh, that's what it was. Why did I think Grime and Checkpoint would be a good flavor?